Welcome to A Brummy Wonders. It's a different one. Today we are fitting our own bath because I'm too tight to pay someone else to do it, so I'll cock it up first and then pay someone to fix it. But I picked the bath up yesterday. If you watched the Bewley episode, you'll see the bath in the van. But why am I here? I have collected a bath. We just have a walk-in shower, which, to be honest, isn't that good. Look at that. They call it a double ender, which I thought was a bit suspect, but it just means you can lay at either end of the bath. I have no idea what I'm doing, but with the power of YouTube and a Wix just around the corner, I think everything is possible, and I should have a working bath by the end of tomorrow. It's still in there, because right now I've got to rip the bloody shower out, which is, just here. It's very, yeah. So, this wall's got to go, this sink's got to go. This mirror and all this shit's got to go. This entire thing's got to go. Probably going to keep the raised floor, possibly. Toilet's got to move this way. Sink's got to go there. And then we'll have some bloody daylight in here. So basically, the bloke who used to live here was a right fatty, and he had to move the bog away from the wall. He couldn't get in the bath, so we built this big walk-in shower contraption thing. But it's very dark, and it blocks the bloody window. So time to switch it up. We'll see how we get on. Let's all go. This is starting to go. Look at that, in one piece. Whoa. And the plasterboard's out now. Revealing some rather simple plumbing as well, looks of it. So we keep going. Right. Day 2. The wall's cleared. Lovely. The sink has been moved temporarily to this position, but piping's all kind of nice and sorted. Today, water off, shower, block the lines for a bit because it's got a drip, so I think it needs a valve changing or something. All of this is going to go. This is breeze block, so that might stay, and I might just match it up and put the bath up on a pedestal kind of thing. But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, bath base, the shower base has gone, all cleaned and dried under there. Throw some more breeze blocks down because that's the current level of this lip, which I'm going to keep because it's been concreted to the floor. This rotten wooden batten can stay for a bit. I'm going to wait for all this to dry out just in case that's holding anything up. Waste pipe, kind of ready to go. Hopefully it lands where the bath middle is, but I've got some 40mm extension for that. And yeah, so now it's bring the bath in and see if it fouls the shower, which it probably will at this height, so form a plan from there. But then once the bath's in, batten the walls at the right height, and then see how far off we are from here with the bath side covers, and then we'll have to do something about the bottom, which will be exposed, but it's probably going to be some skirting board. Buttoning done, buttoning done. Da, 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 da. Is it straight? Don't know. So there's the fit. It's not locked in yet, but we've got it to the right height. The sides will work. I've got to nip to Wix and extend the waste pipe so it carries on that way a bit and then comes down the middle of the bath, which isn't too far, or a faff hopefully. And then send, I might actually see, because there's already water connections for this obviously behind there in the wall, but they are raised up in the middle about here, so I'm thinking wall mounted fancy taps maybe, rather than using these, and then just fill those instead. If not, keep this in action or fit a new shower anyway, and then run the taps off some Y joiners or regular T's, and send a hot and cold from there. But probably we'll have to, yeah, they're going to be exposed to a point, so a bit of trunking, and they'll have to be drilled through the case, which isn't ideal, but looks alright, doesn't it? Take it back a bit. Oh, bloody hell. The Perry bar's really pulling through to get this job done today. Not only is there a Wix right next to Perry Bridge, the one that we did a video on, really old bridge from what, 1200 was it? Can't remember. That's just over there. I'm going across the new bridge to Tool Station and Screwfix. We've got the lot. Wix has taken care of all the fittings and plumbings and all that stuff, but unfortunately they don't have a wall mounted tap, which is the way I want to go with this. So I'm going to check Screwfix out which I think is just here on the left. Brilliant. Yeah, so yes, the Tame Bridge Industrial Estate, literally over the bridge there. And yeah, Screwfix there, Tool Station right next door. What a time to be alive. Result from Tool Station actually. Screwfix have a lot of options but nothing actually in stock, and we've got a nice fancy iPad where you look through the catalogue, and then yeah, couldn't really have anything until Tuesday, and anything that was in stock isn't in stock. So right next door into Tool Station, and they had a wall mounted bath and shower mixer, which I think is the best option here. So now I don't have to run anything to the taps on the bath itself. I can use the old shower feed and do everything from there, hopefully. So I would say we've reached a milestone. I need to figure out how to actually lock these in. I've drilled into the wall, I've put the pipes through. I think it's designed for your actual copper pipes to be poking out and then sealing onto them, but no. So I'm going to have to build some kind of bracket behind there, which is fine, or just pack the hell out of it with gaffer tape, which is always the standard. But yeah, apart from that bodge, this is all levelled and ready to seal in. Shower's working, everything's working. And look at this bad boy for flow. It's not a turd in the bath, that's some cardboard. That's hot, lovely. That's cold, lovely. And the new plumbing underneath for all this drainage. I don't believe I've got any leaks. Which is pretty glorious. So, kind of first draft. Obviously the tools are still there. That's annoyingly fits great under the sink, but I've got to just fill in that back bit there because I had to cut the plasterboard to get to the plumbing. Here, where the old shower was, this square's till there, which used to be behind the main shower unit, but that was all leaky and horrible, so I thought I'd sack that off and get a wall-mounted tap mixer shower bath thing. The shower also working fine, working fine. Whoa, whoa, whoa! There we go. Excellent. Hoping the sealant's done the job, but who knows. And this works too. Hot and cold all day long. Wicked. And that works too. All day long. No leakies. Water pressure all good across all the stuff. This, I'm going to replace the tap anyway because the thingy's gone on that. The flow filter thing. There we go. Right, so it's Bank Holiday Monday right now, and Operation Bath has been a pleasure to do. I don't even know if I'm finished yet, because every time I think I'm finished, you're not finished. But that's because I have no patience. So what's the story? I'm not sure where I got to with the order of the video. But right now, I found myself just installing a brand new actual bath trap, like the plug hole for your bath. Because when I bought the bath, that came fitted, as someone else had put it in there. Turns out, I think the reason that was in there was because they couldn't remove it, which is probably why they got rid of the bath entirely, because it was such a bloody ridiculous part. So look, fairly bog standard, but how to tighten down the plug hole itself. There was like a flat head right in the middle, and you can Google these. It looks like everyone has a problem with them, and everyone's suggesting, well, it's too wide for spanners, and so use a chisel maybe to get into this straight line to turn it out. So I ended up using a masonry drill bit for drilling holes with the wings, because that went down into the middle of this threaded flathead thing, and then I could just rattle it out with a rattle gun and got it out all good. So then popped to Wix, had a look, and like a basic one's like 20 quid. Fancy one 28 with a proper trap that you can inspect and pick the hairs out, and with a pop-up plug hole. So I've thrown that in, and it turns out that replaces the need for a P-bend, which is what I'd put on originally, one of these, and there was another piece to this, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So because that's replaced, my entire angle that had ran the pipes first time round has now changed. So it took a little bit of inventive bodgery with these cool little pipe cutters, which I didn't know I had. I didn't really know what they were for until I started plumbing this weekend. And it turns out these are for cutting plastic pipes, and they're perfect at it. They're also good at bodging moulded parts from P-bends, because there was basically a threaded end on this where this went on, that little twisty bit, that went on. So it wasn't actually an elbow pipe that I could turn right with. So use the snippers to just snip off the end with the threads on, and you've got a pipe. And I think it's turned out really well. Have a look at this. So, under the bath, here's the full gubbins. There's the trap itself. That's the run to the overflow on the side of the bath. And here's my bodge. So a lovely little right turn there, snipped away, straight in there, which gives it the pivot space it needed to run this pipe right under this leg. Just nice, just really nice, about 4mm, all the way down to there, chucked it up, and it runs this way into the main sewage pipe, which is behind the toilet. So pretty awesome. I'm pretty chuffed with it. Yeah, because really, if I didn't make this right angle elbow, this pipe would have been forced into this at a horrible angle where no doubt it would have leaked. So I'm actually quite glad this happened, and it's completely, I mean, we're going to check it now, but I believe this is all leak free finally. So let's have a look. Fancy. Let's have a listen. I think he's done it. So now it's time to put all, well, the fascia, the panels, whatever you call them, finally put them back on. I've built a step here because I had to meet this breeze block step that was cemented to the ground, which I'm not smashing out, so I've raised it all up. So we've got quite a nice step where the bath will sit and look super smart once I've put some fascia on there, and a nice corner piece as well. But it's been a bit of a project this, but compared to where we started, fairly chuffed, and I've never plumbed before, so a bit different. Next job is to change this bloody tap. I just wanted to check on its mountings just to be sure before I purchase anything. But as you can see, the flow filter's knackered there, because it's fine if you go on hot and turn it off. So obviously the cold side of the mixer is a bit bashed, so I've got to sort that. Need to replace all of this, come up with a fancy way to hide all that plasterboard that I had to rip out to get to the plumbing to move the sink from this wall that used to be here. But I think it's going okay. What I do want to do is swap out these flexies, because apparently you shouldn't really have flexies in wall cavities. That was done before I moved in, which is why surveyors exist before you buy houses, but that's that. So that was for a shower system. Now I wanted in the wall taps to negate the point of having taps here, because that would have mean moving lines. But I want to extend the original copper piping upwards and outwards and secure that properly, ready to have that in the wall. Proper sunken tight and nice, but at the moment it's kind of, I won't tell you how I did it, but it's done for now. So we got the shower, these brackets can go in a bit, fill that hole, that'll be my inspection plate, which I think is quite useful. And there we go. Fill those holes too, because whoever had this bath before drilled in for their taps. Apart from that, pretty not too bad. We are balancing on breeze blocks, hopefully that's all right, but to be honest, this is very serviceable. Everything will be very easy to get to, so I'm not too panicked about that. And then we need to come up with something to cover this. We need to jack all this up, waterproof behind the sink, get it all tidied up, maybe swap the sink out, to be honest, it's a bit of an eyesore, or at least get a pedestal to hide all that. Toilet sound, the guy who used to live here was a big fat guy, so he moved the toilet away from the wall so he could get his arse there. So really, this should be slightly more to the right, but I wasn't going to mess with the main sewage output, so that can stay, and there is plenty of room. We've tried. So yeah, bath panels on, get my steps together, get something cut for the front there, and then seal it all, and job should be a good one. Not bad for an Easter weekend. I've enjoyed it. Not a plumber, not a DIY guy, not a carpenter, not a clue what I'm doing, but I think it made sense. I'll show you the finished product whenever that's done, but give it a month I reckon, because we're back to work soon. But happy Easter everyone, and I hope you enjoyed this I don't know if it was very informative at all, because I've been more preoccupied with just getting it done than filming. So, you know, that's that. Thanks for joining, and I'll show you the slightly better version of this when I've popped all the panels on and just kind of tidied up a little bit, because it's a bum sight, mate. It's a bum sight. But at least baby's bath can go. Thank God for that. Right, ta-ta. And we have the bath in and raised on its own step, which will be sealed with new lino there and a nice bit of waterproof flooring, but for now it's bodged with waterproof tape. Spare wall that I took down. There's some more over here now as well, so that's just everywhere. This stuff's going to be used to repair that hole very likely. Yeah, all this will just be finished and trimmed off and then sealed, and then that's it. Give the window a nice sealing now, because we will be using this as a shower also, and I think this has had an issue for a couple of years now as far as just not quite keeping the water out. So there's that, but there you go. Toilet. That was that little Galloway's corner there. Do you like that? So yeah, obviously once all this wall's tidied, mirror will be mounted properly. There'll probably be some shelves and that. But and yeah, patch up that where the bloody wall went. New radiator going in with a warmy towel rack thing. I think that'll be job done for a bit. Bit of artwork maybe. Yeah. There you go, big change, eh? Should we have a little before and after? So if I go like this. I don't know if I got a before video properly, but I'm going to blend this in with the old. I'm just taking how much more daylight there is. It's much better. Oh, so now we can have sunny poos. Excellent.